Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Ant-Man and the Wasp. So, if you watched my channel before, you know I'm a huge Marvel Cinematic Universe fan, so anytime a film as part of that series comes out, I get super excited, and I have to say, this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it a lot, and this definitely wasn't one of their best, but I really thought that it did the first film justice, which was one of their biggest risks. This film is weird. It's about a guy who could shrink and ride ants and communicate with ants, and now we got a sidekick that's dressed up like a wasp and can fly and shrink and all kinds of stuff like that, or you could grow giant. And then you have things that phase through walls and called Ghost. And the thing is, this was a lot of fun. I really think this film is a nice addition to the MCU, and especially after Infinity War, it was a nice change of pace. Now, this film, basically the gist is Scott Lang's about to get off of house arrest after 2 years after Civil War, and he's dragged back in to help Hank Pym and his daughter Hope find their wife and mother, Janet, in the quantum realm. And there are even jokes about how many times they say quantum in this movie, and that's the gist of it. But there's a lot of other stuff going on. I'll get to that in a minute. But I feel like this is so funny and the humor works so well throughout that this feels more like a straight up comedy for the MCU, and I feel like Ant-Man feels like that's the place where they can really, really dig deep into something like that. And not to say that this doesn't have its emotional moments, but Paul Rudd is fantastic. He is perfect casting for Scott Lang. He's so charming. He has great chemistry with Evangeline Lilly, who's fantastic and is a real scene stealer in this film, because she's the one that really feels like the true hero of this film. And the two of them are great together, and it really works. And it's important to have Ant-Man and the Wasp really working well together. And Christoph Beck's score, which a lot of the MCU films don't have super memorable scores, but I felt like this film, it kind of was reminiscent of a Michael Giacchino score for like The Incredibles, where it's like had like superhero-y sound, but also like that spy kind of thing. And that the score for this had that kind of vibe, and I really enjoyed it. And it was one of the things that made it easier to sit through the credits, was listening to the music as well. And there's so many creative set pieces and action sequences in this film, which really sets this apart from other superhero films, is the whole shrinking and growing and how that's utilized in things. And I feel like Peyton Reed did such a great job as director, being able to handle that and really knowing what to do with that. And balancing some moments of great humor, but also really emotional, true, heartfelt moments. And a lot of those had to do with Scott Lang and his daughter Cassie. Oh, she was so fantastic, that little girl, and I didn't write her name down, but who played the daughter in this was amazing. She was so charming. She had great chemistry with Paul Rudd. They felt like a real father and daughter. And the other heartfelt moments was like, our villain Ghost in this film has some heft to her character, and there's some real emotional moments for her. And I felt like Ghost stuck out as like one of the, not one of the best villains the Marvel Cinematic Universe has had, but is up there with, like, for me personally, like Red Skull and Obadiah Stane, where they were like so good for their movies. They didn't transcend being fantastic villains, but they were perfect for their film. And she fits well for this film. But now with some of the negatives, the cinematography isn't great, and I didn't like it for the first film either. It really feels like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I don't like that, where it's just like, hey, this looks bland as hell. And that's unfortunate, because especially recently with Black Panther and Infinity War and Ragnarok, the cinematography has been amazing. So that kind of took that away from me. And this doesn't feel like a smoothly put together film. It's a bit awkward at moments, and it doesn't gel as well as it should. And it's overly convoluted. There's so much crap going on in this film. It's like there's 3 or 4 antagonists, and it's just like you have the Ghost storyline, and then Walton Goggins, who's really wasted in this film, is some gangster who wants their tech. And I'm a Southern guy, and I'm evil, and that's basically all I got going on. And then you have the FBI, which Randall Park it's funny, but like it's just like, why did we need the FBI? Why did we need these criminals? FBI made sense. He's under house arrest. Why don't you just use the FBI? But how they put the film together, they added a lot of stuff in that was too much, and I feel like some of the actors were wasted too. And like Michelle Pfeiffer is a big name and a very talented actress, and she is not in this that much. And hopefully we get more of her in the future, but she really wasn't super well utilized in this. But overall, this is a fun film. This isn't like game changing like Ragnarok or Civil War or Infinity War. This is just a fun film, and this film might not transcend the superhero genre as much for a lot of people. And so like, and it is very standalone for the MCU. So if you enjoy these kinds of movies, you'll enjoy this. Go out and see it. If you're not into superhero films or like this weird idea of all these superheroes, this one's probably not the right one for you. It's less grounded. It's really crazy and especially trippy when you go to the quantum realm. So it's a fun time. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't the best film in the MCU, but it was a lot of fun, and it wasn't Thor Dark World. So go check out Ant-Man and the Wasp.